Welcome to the Sleep Dives channel. In our last deep dive into Steve Pereira's flow engineering, we really focused on mapping the reality of our current workflow, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, we're taking that next crucial step. We're making the leap from analysis to ambition, moving from simply understanding the present to actively designing and building a much better future.
So here's the path we're going to take. First, we'll explore how to actually envision a more efficient process. Then, we'll get into how to spot and eliminate all those hidden drags on our productivity. And finally, we'll learn how to build a concrete, actionable roadmap that turns that vision into a reality. Let's get started.
You can't really reach a destination if you don't have one, right? In flow engineering, that destination isn't just some vague hope for improvement. It's a tangible thing called a future state map. You can think of it as the actual blueprint for a better way of working. Now, this slide points out a really critical distinction. On one side, you've got the ideal state map. That's your North Star, this big, creative, maybe even theoretical vision of perfection that inspires everyone. But what we're focused on here is the future state map. That's your next destination. It's pragmatic. It's an achievable target, maybe for the next 6 months. It's not about perfection. It's about making real, tangible progress.
And this right here shows you the real-world power of having a future state map. A travel tech company in the book was struggling with an 8-month lead time for partner integrations. Just a huge delay. By mapping out their process, they were able to design a future state that slashed this lead time to a target of just 3 months. This wasn't some fantasy. It was a concrete, achievable goal that got the entire team fired up.
So how do we actually go about creating this powerful vision? Well, it's not about guesswork or wishful thinking. Flow engineering gives us a structured, repeatable process for designing our target destination. Let's walk through how that works.
The whole thing unfolds in 4 pretty logical stages. First, you review your goals and you're armed with all the insights you got from your current state map. Second, you pinpoint the biggest bottlenecks and the best opportunities. Third, and this is the really creative part, you redesign the workflow itself. Can we eliminate steps? Can we run tasks in parallel? And finally, you estimate the timings for this new, improved process to create a solid, measurable target.
And crucially, this is not a one-and-done exercise. Future state mapping is the plan part of a continuous improvement cycle, sometimes called the improvement kata, or plan, do, study, act. You plan a change, you do it, you study the results, and then you act on what you learned. It's really all about building a powerful, sustainable habit of getting better.
At the very heart of redesigning your workflow is one core activity: finding and ruthlessly eliminating waste. In lean thinking, waste is pretty much anything that uses up resources but adds absolutely zero value for the customer. But what does that really mean for those of us who aren't working on a factory floor? Waste in knowledge work isn't about scrap metal or faulty parts. It's way more sneaky than that. It's wasted time, wasted energy, and maybe, most tragically, wasted human potential.
Now, to spot this waste, we can use this really powerful acrostic: downtime. It covers 8 different categories: defects that need rework, overproducing things nobody needs yet, waiting around for approvals. You get the idea. But I want you to pay special attention to the I for inventory. In our world, inventory isn't a pile of parts. It's work in progress, all those half-finished tasks. Pereira calls this the silent killer of productivity, because every single unfinished task just clogs up the system, hides other problems, and creates this cascade of delays.
Okay, so having a beautiful future state map is fantastic, but let's be honest, a map is pretty useless without a route. This is where we build the bridge from our vision to reality. We need a plan of action, and in flow engineering, that's called the flow roadmap. This quote from the absolute legend, W. Edwards Deming, just perfectly captures the spirit of this step. All the mapping, all the analysis, all the insights, they are completely pointless if they don't lead to concrete, deliberate action. And here is the key definition you need to remember. A flow roadmap is not your product roadmap. It doesn't list new features. Instead, it's a plan for improving how you create value. It's the set of experiments and changes you're going to make to your process to actually reach that future state you designed.
So we have our vision and a list of potential improvements. And the challenge is obvious, right? Where do we start? Trying to do everything at once is just a guaranteed recipe for failure. We have to prioritize and sequence our actions intelligently.
And this simple 2x2 matrix is the perfect tool for the job. You take every potential improvement and you plot it based on two simple things. How important is it for reaching your goal, and how feasible is it? Like, how easily can you actually do it? This just immediately brings clarity. Those items in that top right quadrant, high importance, high feasibility, that's your starting point.
That prioritization grid naturally creates your roadmap sequence. The now items are those high-impact, high-feasibility actions. These are the quick wins that build that crucial momentum. The next items, they're important, but they might need a bit more planning. And the later items get parked for the future. This simple process turns what could be an overwhelming list into a manageable step-by-step plan.
Of course, for every action you take, you need to know if it's actually working. That's why you attach clear metrics to your roadmap items. Are you trying to reduce lead time, for example, or maybe decrease your work in progress to get more focused, or lower your change failure rate? Making your progress tangible like this is absolutely essential for keeping the team motivated and proving your efforts are paying off.
So how can you put all this into practice? The key is to start small. You really don't need to map your entire organization's workflow tomorrow. Instead, just map a small, personal process, like preparing a report, or even just your morning routine. Use that downtime acrostic to hunt for waste. I guarantee you'll find some. Then, just identify one high-impact, easy-to-do now item and fix it.
Here is a final and absolutely crucial piece of advice. The goal of flow engineering is not to design some flawless utopian process on paper. That path just leads to analysis paralysis. The real goal is to make iterative, continuous progress. An imperfect plan that you act on today is infinitely better than a perfect one that just sits on a shelf forever.
So we've journeyed from understanding our current state to designing an achievable future, and finally to building an actionable roadmap to get us there. The real power is in connecting that vision directly to action. So the question to leave you with is this: if you were to build your flow roadmap today, what is the one now action, that single high-impact, high-feasibility change that would unlock the most momentum for you and your team?